What are some harmless, yet satisfying things you've done to your neighbor to get back at them? When my fiancé had pneumonia, they complained about our grass being too long. So he stopped cutting it for the rest of the summer lol. We were about to hire someone to do it, but when the neighbors complained, he changed his mind. A different story. When I was a kid, our neighbors hated my dad. He ran his own business and just thought his work trucks, too, always parked in our driveway, made the neighborhood look badly. IDK, they were old and cranky. My dad started buying gnomes, misc yard statues, and placing them randomly in the yard facing their house. At one point we had at least 15 to 20, varying in size. My dad is still so proud of this. My wife says she saw my neighbor looking at our house with binoculars. So I ordered a giant prosthetic penis and paraded around naked with it on. I think it's safe to say he noticed. Because not only did he stop peeping on us, he stopped looking me in the eyes as well. So I tend to be good to my neighbors when I can. I like to snow shovel a few of the houses on either side, and when limbs go down we go out and help cut 'em up, etc. We had a crew out putting in a new sidewalk from the back of the house out to the garage and the alley. As they were working, they were playing some Spanish polka music and doing their work. He chose to yell at them about their music and at one point screamed at them about "turn down your $, and it-ing music." I was working inside of the house and didn't know that they had done it, and the worker told me as he was leaving for the day. For the next week I played nothing but polka music in my backyard, since he also likes to have loud parties. He got to explain to his friends why all of a sudden his neighbors played nothing but polka whenever his friends came over at loud volumes. We have also made it a point to play polka at every holiday when we can find it. Not me, but two of my neighbors had a beef. One stole his lawnmower to cut his grass once without even asking. So a couple of weeks later, the guy he took the lawnmower from cut his fingernails, put them in an envelope, and stuck them in the guy's mailbox. Both of these guys were in their 40s. So it was so dumb. But I thought it was hilarious because I find almost anything funny. She threatened to poison the neighbor's dogs, so I started feeding crows in her yard. I would throw an egg or two into her lawn and garden. Eventually she pissed off the crows because she's a vile being. They throw stuff at her. Noisy neighbors who thought 3 a.m. on a Wednesday was party time. When I left for work at 6 a.m. for the next few weeks, I would flick the breaker on their electricity, turn everything off. Their dog used to come over and shit on our lawn. I had my suspicions and confirmed it when I literally watched them walk over and watched the dog shit one morning, leaving it there as if it was nothing. After waiting and realizing they were never coming back for it, or never would, I started spraying shit back onto their lawn every time it happened. After about a week it, magically, stopped happening. Disclaimer: I'm a night shift nurse and could never really catch 'em to talk about it. When decent, at least. We are still great neighbors and it was never taken the wrong way. Probably quite the opposite, really. They might have never genuinely considered how annoying it was. In about 1985, when my eldest was a toddler, he came running into the house crying. It took a few minutes to sort the problem, but apparently the neighbors had been yelling at him as he was running around in his own yard naked. Imagine the horror, a naked toddler. A few minutes later my wife stopped me as I was attempting to leave the house and asked me what I was doing. I was dressed in work boots and gloves, nothing else. I told her I thought the lawn needed mowing. All she said was wear sunscreen. The neighbors had to scramble to shut down their lawn party and move everyone inside and close all the blinds. I mowed their lawn properly and gave them a genuine compliment when they clearly put effort into their appearance, as well as told them how well-mannered their kids are. Hey, that'll show 'em not to mess with me anymore. This is how I got back at my neighbor, sister. So I rented from this landlord and he was such a cool dude, my whole family ended up renting apartments and duplexes from him at some point. Anyway, so my sister, who did some messed up stuff in my childhood, moved into the apartment below mine. So in this apartment building the heat was in the ceiling. Apparently my sister never figured this out. She would, rather than going out and getting a more affordable space heater if she was still cold, would just crank her heat higher. For the entire time we were neighbors I just turned my heat off because the amount of heat she was pumping out easily took care of my place and I saved hundreds. I could have told her she was wasting money, but meh. My upstairs neighbors were annoying and had parties that went late and were loud as fuck. I'd asked him a few times to at least stop blasting music by midnight, which seemed pretty reasonable. They'd still forget every month or so. We were all renters. There was a shared basement area that had all the circuit breakers for the entire duplex. I knew for a fact they didn't have a key. So one night I got fed up and went down and flipped their master breaker. I quickly went back into my place and had all the lights off. They tried ringing my doorbell but I didn't answer. Eventually everyone at their party left and I suppose they went to sleep or something to deal with it in the morning. So about 30 minutes later I went back down and turned the breaker back on. Going by the shouts I heard, I'm guessing it really surprised them. I was tempted to do it again the next time they had a party but figured they'd place the blame on me if it happened again. Luckily they all moved out a few months later and we got new neighbors who were much quieter.